So already in your periodic table, two properties are completed. One is atomic size or atomic radius, and the second one is ionization enthalpy. That is yesterday I completed. Now today my target is three properties: electron gain enthalpy, electronegativity, electropositivity, if possible valence. Because all these are simplest ones. Most of the students well known one. So that's why I think it is a repetition for your 10th class. So for your 10th class, it is no doubt it is repeated classes. So see here, that is first one, electron gain enthalpy. What is this electron gain enthalpy? So electron gain, that means during the gaining of electron, something energy may be released. That releasing energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. So see here, I am going to explain this electron gain enthalpy. So this electron gain enthalpy, or sometimes almost not 100%, is considered as electron affinity. Electron affinity. There is a slight difference between this electron affinity and electron gain enthalpy, but almost same. Almost same. See here. What is this electron affinity? After that, I am going to explain electron gain enthalpy. Electron affinity. So that is, let us take an atom. This is the nucleus of the atom. This is the outermost orbit of that atom. Outermost orbit of that atom. Now, mind it, this is the gaseous neutral atom. It is the gaseous neutral atom. In particular, isolated one. No one is attached to this isolated gaseous neutral atom. To this is the outermost orbit. Outermost orbit. Okay. Now, to this outermost orbit, there is an electron outside this nucleus, outside this atom. Outside that atom, there is an electron which is released from others. Now this electron is entered into the outermost orbit of that nucleus, that atom. Outermost orbit of that atom. Now, electron has a negative charge, nucleus has a positive charge. Between this positive and this negative, there is an attractive force between these two. These two, there is an attractive force. That is an attractive force. That means because of that attractive force between this positive and negative of that electron, so that electron is strongly attracted by the nucleus. That's why this electron now entered into the outermost orbit of that atom. Outermost orbit of. It is only due to the attractive force existing between this electron, that is incoming electron, and nucleus of that atom. Okay, that attacking of, that is addition of that electron into the valency orbit of an element is called as electron affinity. During this is the process. During this process, because of this attractive force, something energy released. Something energy is released. This released energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. That releasing energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. That attracting, that property, the tendency, this attractive tendency is called as electron affinity. During that process, something energy will be released. That released energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. So generally, this electron gain enthalpy is almost equal to electron affinity of that species. Is almost equal to electron affinity of that species. So my dear boys, so there is a strong attraction. Where there is an attraction, energy should be released. Where there is an attraction, it is electrostatic attraction. Where there is an attraction, energy should be released. So more attraction, if attraction is more energy will be released. More energy released. Attraction is less energy is released. More energy released or less energy released. So all this only due to the attractive force existing between that incoming electron and nucleus. So slightly, so I'm going to explain the definition for this one. So see here, when an electron is added to the outermost orbit of a gaseous isolated neutral atom, when an electron is added to the outermost orbit of a gaseous isolated neutral atom, the energy will be released. Something energy will be released. That released energy is called as electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. Electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. So this attractive force is nothing but positive and negative attractive forces. So these are electrostatic attractive forces. So wherever attractive forces is there, because there is a phenomenon, there should be opposite phenomenon. Wherever something process is there, opposite process must be there. So because of attraction, energy will be released. Because of attraction, energy will be released. That released energy is called as electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. In stretch, it is electron gain enthalpy. That attraction is called as electron affinity. That released energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. So more is the attraction, more is the energy should be released. More is the attraction, more is the energy should be released. So there are also some factors which influence this electron affinity. Just I am going to explain the definition for this one. Just I am going to explain the definition for this one. So see here, the amount of energy released when an electron is added to the outermost orbit of a isolated gaseous neutral atom is called as electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. So more is the attraction, more energy will be released. More is the attraction, more energy will be released. Okay, so now electron gain enthalpy, that is energy release. So because of that, here enthalpy values are negative. Enthalpy values are because it is the energy release process. Whenever energy is released, that process is called as exothermic process. The process is called as exothermic process. What is exothermic process? That is the process in which energy should be released. Energy release process are called as exothermic. Whenever exothermic is there, delta H is negative. That is enthalpy change is negative. So in your yesterday's class, that is ionization energy. Energy is absorbed energy, required energy. There, that is endothermic energy. There, delta H values are positive. Here it is negative. So that is the reverse of this one. That is the reverse of this one. Ionization energy. This is electron affinity. Okay, so here delta H values are negative. It is an exothermic process. So when one electron is added, that is first electron affinity. If one electron is added, that is called first electron affinity. So let us take the equation part. See here, there is an atom A which is in gaseous state, isolated gaseous state. To this, an electron is added. So now it converts into A minus ion, which is also in gaseous state. That something energy is released. This released energy is called as electron affinity. In particular, it is electron gain enthalpy. Electron gain enthalpy. Electron affinity. That attractive force is electron affinity. That released energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. Statistics is electron gain enthalpy. Okay, the same equation I am going to write like this. See here, same equation. A which is in gaseous state plus electron gives A minus gaseous state. Now the energy in terms of delta H is equal to minus A. This is called as electron gain enthalpy. That is electron gain enthalpy. So it is very, very important. So if you write the delta H terms, that should be negative because it is exothermic process. Whenever exothermic process, delta H should be negative. Delta H should be negative. So these are electron gain enthalpy. So if you want to add one more electron to this, already one electron is added, some energy will be released. If you want to another one more electron is going to add here. See here. If you want to add one more electron, now A minus gaseous ion is there. To this, I am going to add one more electron. So now it converts into A minus to gaseous ion. So something energy is there. This energy is endothermic process. Endothermic process. That means it is not that much easy to add one more electron for already a negatively charged ion. Because there is negative charge means it has something more number of electrons than that of its original electron. So already extra electrons are there. So one more electrons are going to add. That means there is a repulsion between this added electron and already existed electrons. Because of that repulsions, it is not that much easy to add that electron just like than that of previous one. Here there is an attraction, but here is a repulsion already existed electrons and that incoming electron. Because of that, something force of attraction, some force, some energy, I'm going to apply on that one for the addition of that electron. That means here endothermic process. Here it is endothermic process. That is, it is a energy absorbed process. That is why here not energy is not like this. So for this, something energy is applied. So now this electron is entered into this atom. Now it is converted into A minus. It is endothermic process. It is endothermic process. It is energy absorbed process. This is called as something energy is absorbed, which is called as second electron gain enthalpy. This second electron gain enthalpy is endothermic process. First electron affinity. First electron gain enthalpy is exothermic process. Second electron gain enthalpy is endothermic process. So not only second, third onwards. Second, third, fourth, fifth, whatever it may be the electron gain enthalpies, all those are endothermic. Only first electron affinity is exothermic. Only first electron affinity is exothermic. Okay, so these are the cases in which electron is added conditions. Find it. It is isolated neutral gaseous atom. Isolated. For this, electron is added from the outside to into the outermost orbit of a gaseous neutral atom. Outermost orbit of a gaseous neutral atom. So that energy release process is called as electron gain enthalpy. Because of gaining of electron, something energy is released. That released energy is called as electron gain enthalpy. First electron gain enthalpy is negative, that is exothermic. So second onwards, that is endothermic. Those values are delta H values for second, third, fourth electron gain enthalpies are positive. Only first electron gain enthalpies are negative. Okay, this is the general cases. Now, what are the factors that are influencing on this electron gain enthalpy? So electron gain enthalpy is influenced by three special characteristic properties. There is so the factors which influence this electron gain enthalpy are that is a three-type study. Those are the three effects are there. One is which influence this electron affinity is atomic size. Atomic size, one of the factors which influence electron gain enthalpy. Second one is nuclear charge. Nuclear charge. Third one is electronic configuration. Electronic configuration. These are the three factors which influencing that electron gain enthalpy. So now one by one, we are going to discuss one by one. Atomic size. Let us take two atoms. This is one atom having this much size. Just a minute. This is the nucleus of atom. This is one atom, outermost orbit. There should be another atom. This is the nucleus. This is another atom. This is the size of that atom. Another atom. Now I am going to add one electron. It is small in size. It is big in size. Small in size, big in size. Now it is the distance from the nucleus to the outermost orbit. It is the distance from the nucleus to the outermost orbit. Now in this, one electron is going to add here. This is the electron now adding into the outermost orbit. This is the electron now adding into the outermost orbit. Okay, this electron has negative charge. This one also having negative charge. Now between this electron, that is, this is the distance. Here is the distance. That means here is the less distance, more attractive forces. Less distance, more attraction between nucleus and coming electron. That is why more energy release. More energy release. Therefore, electron affinity is high. Electron affinity is high. Now here, when compared here, it is the large distance. Large distance means less attractive force between nucleus and electron. Therefore, less energy release. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy is less. It is high. Then it is less. That is why. So now what is the factors? Or how this atomic size increases this electron gain enthalpy? That means more is the size, less is the electron gain enthalpy. Less is the size, more is the electron gain enthalpy. Therefore, atomic size is inversely proportional to electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. Electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. That means atomic size is inversely proportional to electron gain enthalpy. Okay. So now, so what is the trend in your periodic table? In your periodic table, from left to right, that is in periods, size gradually decreases. Size gradually decreases. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy increases. Because the size decreases, electron gain enthalpy increases. Okay. So now, from top to bottom, size gradually increases. In groups, size gradually increases. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy decreases. Electron gain enthalpy decreases. That is why in periods in general from left to right, electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity increases. Top to bottom, electron gain enthalpy decreases because size increases. Now, so this is one of the factors that influencing the electron gain enthalpy. Now, nuclear charge, effective nuclear charge. Already, what is the, you know that effective nuclear charge? If effective nuclear charge is more because of the screening effect, something else. Effective nuclear charge. So this is the atom. This is the nucleus of atom. This is also atom. It is the nucleus of another atom. Almost these two have same size. But here 15 positive is there. Here 20 positive is there. That means here nuclear charge is higher. Nuclear charge is high. Here nuclear charge is lower. Nuclear charge is low. Okay. Now, when electron is added to it, this one. Now, this is the electron added to the outermost orbit. This is the electron added to the outermost orbit. Here, the distance is almost the same. Distance is almost same. But here, only 15 plus. Here is 20 plus. Between this negative and this 20 plus, more attraction is possible. Here it is between 15 plus and electron. When compared to here, less attraction is possible. Wherever less attraction is there, less energy will be released. Here more attraction is there, more energy will be released. Therefore, more is the nuclear attraction, more energy will be released. Less is the nuclear charge, less energy will be released. That means nuclear charge is directly proportional to electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. So that means the effective nuclear charge where it is more, automatically electron gain enthalpy is more because nuclear charge is positive. That is, if it is positive, if it is more, so that electron, that is negatively charged electron, is easy to attract. Okay, so nuclear charge. Now already we know that electron configuration. Just like in previous case, that is in ionization energy part. Here also electron gain enthalpy. That is half filled and completely filled. Orbitals elements are very very stable. Stable bus. So half filled or completely filled. Orbitals having elements are more stable. Because they are more stable, not ready to accept electron from outside. That means less attractive force. That means less energy will be released. Less energy. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity is less. Is this clear? Is this clear or not? Because elements having half filled or completely filled, automatically they are stable. If one more electron is added, their half filling nature or completely filling nature is collapsed. Because of that collapsing, their stability is decreased. No element is ready to accepting decreasing its stability by accepting electron. That's why these are not ready to accept that electron. Because of that, the attractive force between that incoming electron and the nucleus is very, very less because of their stability. That's why less attractive force, automatically less energy will be released. That means electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity is less in these cases. So that means electronic configuration also influences this electron gain enthalpy part. So that means more stable elements, that is half filled or completely filled, orbitals having elements, atoms of elements having less electron gain enthalpies than that of its neighbor side. So let us take an example here. Let us take one example here. Nitrogen. Next element oxygen. Its preceding element carbon. Its atomic number 6. Its atomic number 7. Its atomic number 8. Then electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2, 2p2. Outermost contains 4 electrons and that 2p orbital contains 2 electrons. This is 2 electrons. It is 2p orbital. Here it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So outermost contains 5 electrons. So that p orbital, this is p orbital. So having 3 unpaired electrons. It is a half filled. Next, it is 1s2, 2s2, 2p4 contains 6 electrons. So now that p orbital having 4 electrons, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not half filled. So it is also not half filled. That means among these three, it is more stable. That means if you add this electron to this one, not that much is in. But if you add this one electron, so now it gets one more electron. That is half filled nature is available because after gaining this electron, it gets half filled. That means it is easy to accept electron. Therefore, electron affinity is higher. Because when electron is added here, automatically something energy, so that is stability is increased. So something is that's why electron gain enthalpy is very very high here. Okay. So but here also electron. So more nuclear charge because more is the number of protons, more is the nuclear charge. If electron is added here, more attraction is there. So something more electron gain enthalpy is possible. Something more electron gain enthalpy is possible because more nuclear charge, more electron gain enthalpy. But here is less stable because it is itself is stable, not ready to accept electron. That's why electron affinity of nitrogen is less than that of carbon, its preceding element, oxygen, its succeeding element. That means 15th group elements, it is 15th group element, it is 16th group element, it is 14th group element. 15th group elements have less electron affinity than 16th and 14th group elements. 15th and 15th group elements have less electron affinity than its corresponding 16th group elements and its preceding 14th group elements. So this is due to electronic configuration. It is due to electronic configuration. It is very, very important. So these are the three factors which influence electron affinity. Now I am going to take some cases, exceptional cases here. See these points. See here, my dear boys. First exceptional case in p block elements. In p block elements, second period elements. Second period. See here. So from top to bottom, size gradually increases. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy decreases. This is expected. When compared to second period and third period elements, second period and third period elements, that is, it is the second period, it is third period, it is top to bottom end. What we expected, electron gain enthalpy decreases, just like this group. But third period elements having, it is expected. This is expected, but third period elements having more electron gain enthalpies than second period elements. That means it is the reverse to that of actual value. It is applicable only for second and third periods, not for all groups. Only second and third period elements. Let us take the explanation here. Second period elements have less electron gain enthalpies than third period, but we expected second has more, third has less. But third has more, second has less. So why it is possible? See here. So what are those second period elements in PID table? That is second period elements. Those are carbon, nitrogen, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Third period elements. Those are aluminum, phosphorus, sulfur, fluorine. Aluminum, phosphorus, sulfur, fluorine. It is 17th group, it is 16th group, 15th group, 14th group. Now, 16th group elements, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. 17th group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, acetylene. These are the elements. Nitrogen, phosphorus, so no need for that one. So actually, in a group from top to bottom, electron gain enthalpy decreases. That is why what we expected here, it is expected. electron gain enthalpy values is oxygen greater than, sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than. It is radioactivity, no need to identify it. Oxygen greater than, sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium. This is expected, but actually electron gain enthalpy values are sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than, oxygen. It is correct. This is very, very important. So, my dear boys, it is carbon, sorry, it is silicon, sorry. It is silicon. Thank you. Oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium. Actually, we expected this one, electron gain enthalpies. But here, sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than, oxygen. Tellurium greater than, oxygen. So, your answer is this one. This is correct answer. So, this is wrong answer. Our expectation is wrong. That means electron affinity of sulfur is greater than that of oxygen. Electron affinity of sulfur is greater than that of oxygen. Why, sir? Why? So see here. So similarly, so altogether I give a single reasoning. Similarly, it is for 16th group. For 17th group, let us take 17th group. For 17th group elements, we expected values. Those are fluorine greater than, chlorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. Asteroid neglected. Fluorine greater than, chlorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. But actual values, actually, chlorine greater than, fluorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. This is correct, this is wrong, my dear boys. So this is wrong and this is wrong. This is absolutely correct. So the order of electron gain enthalpies of or electron affinity of 17th group elements is chlorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. For 16th group elements, sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than, oxygen. So for 15th group elements, so we expected nitrogen greater than phosphorus. Wrong end. Phosphorus greater than nitrogen. It is correct. Phosphorus greater than nitrogen. That means in periodic table, in P block elements, so third group elements, third period elements having more electron gain enthalpies than that of second period elements. Now, what is the reason behind it? Now, I am going to explain for fluorine and chlorine. So, similar reasons are also applicable for oxygen and sulfur and nitrogen and phosphorus also. Okay. So, why electron affinity of fluorine is less than that of chlorine? Why electron affinity of fluorine greater than fluorine? That is the question. Fluorine. So for our convenience, see that fluorine atomic number Z is equal to 70. Fluorine atomic number Z is equal to 900. Write the electronic configuration for those. Here 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. 1s2, 2s2, 2p5. That means first orbit, second orbit. So second orbit. So see here. I am going to draw for fluorine. So it is the nucleus of fluorine. This is the first orbit of fluorine. It is the second orbit of fluorine. First orbit contains maximum 2 electrons. 2 electrons are there. Second orbit contains S and P substance. S contains maximum 2. P maximum contains 7 electrons. So 8 is the maximum, but already 7 electrons are there. So second period contains 7 electrons. So maximum possibility 8. Maximum. That means in second period, in second orbit, only accommodation available for 1 electron. So in second period, accommodation available only for 1 electron. Available only for one electron. Already 7 electrons are there. 8 electrons is the maximum for second electron. So only one electron is available for them. Okay. Next, it is for fluorine. Next, what about chlorine? Now I am going to write chlorine electron configurations. So chlorine 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p5. So it is first orbit, it is second orbit, third orbit. Third orbit also contains 3s, 3p along with these two, 3d also there is no electrons. Third orbit contains d orbitals also, but there is no electrons. That's why generally we don't write that. But here we consider that there is no electrons. So here maximum 2, here maximum 6, here maximum 10. Altogether 18 electrons accommodation is possible. Accommodation is possible. Only 7 electrons are there. Only 7 electrons. Here it is first orbit, it is second orbit, it is third orbit. Third orbit. See here, it is nucleus of fluorine. First orbit, maximum 2 are there. Second orbit, maximum 8 are there. Third orbit, maximum 18, but only 7 electrons are there. Maximum 18, it is maximum. Only 7 electrons are there. That means, so nearly 11 electrons accommodation is possible. 11 electrons accommodation is possible. So that means here only available 1 electron accommodation, here 11 electrons accommodation. Now I am going to add 1 electron for these two both cases. So now this is the electron added here. Now this is the electron added here in the outermost orbit. So this is the only electron. Here only 1 electron accommodation is there. That means very minute gap is there. So already existed 7 electrons and this electron. So there is a repulsion because of this small size. Because of this small size, already existed electrons and incoming electron, there is a repulsion that takes place. Therefore, that electron is not easy to attract into the outermost orbit. Therefore, less energy release. Less energy release. But in this case, there is only 7 electrons. High nuclear charge is there. So even though having more size, so 11 electrons accommodation is possible. So addition of only electron, that means there is a large gap, empty space is there. So addition of that 1 electron that is no need to problem, no problem is available. Therefore, a strong attraction force is applied. Strong attractive force is available. Therefore, more energy is released. Therefore, electron gain enthalpy is high. Electron gain enthalpy is high. So, what is the reason behind it? So, here the reason is two cases. That is one, small size of fluorine than chlorine. Second reason, there is greater inter-electronic repulsions are possible between already existed electrons and incoming electron in fluorine. Because of these two reasons, so attractive force is less, automatically chlorine has more electron gain. Therefore, in your periodic table, the highest electron gain enthalpy is for Cl, chlorine. Highest electron gain enthalpy is for Cl, not chlorine. Okay, so is this clear, my dear boys? What, Ganesh? What do you want? What, Ganesh? What do you want? Dear students, are you listening or sleeping? Are you listening or sleeping? See here. Here I am going to explain 16th group and 17th group, at the same time 15th group. Generally, in a group from top to bottom, the electron gain enthalpy decreases. It is general case. It is general case. In 15th group elements, what are those elements available? Nitrogen, phosphorus. What we expected, phosphorus has less value than that of nitrogen, but electron affinity of phosphorus is greater than that of nitrogen. It is correct. Exceptional case. Exceptional case. Actually, we expected phosphorus has less, but phosphorus has more when compared to nitrogen. Next, in 16 group elements, oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium. We expected oxygen greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than, oxygen greater than, sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium. Selenium greater than, tellurium. This is expected. Expected. But sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than oxygen. It is actual. It is correct. It is wrong. That means sulfur value greater than that of oxygen. Sulfur greater than oxygen. We expected oxygen greater than sulfur. Wrong. Sulfur greater than oxygen is correct. Sulfur greater than oxygen is correct. But in 17th group, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, halogens. We expected fluorine greater than, chlorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. Wrong. Chlorine greater than, fluorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. It is correct. That is electron affinity of Cl greater than. Here electron affinity of sulfur greater than oxygen. So here electron affinity of phosphorus greater than nitrogen. This is a second period element. This is a third period element. So in general, third period elements electron affinity values are more than that of corresponding second period elements. Are more than that of second period elements. The reason behind this is second period. So F means second period. Second period elements have small size. Second period elements have small size. Because of their small size, so incoming electron and already existing electrons have greater inter-electronic repulsions than that of attraction between that incoming electron and nucleus. That is, here repulsions dominates. Here repulsions dominates than that of attractions. That is why less attractions are available. Next, at the same time, it is small size. Because of small size, this is possible. That's why, because of these two reasons, chlorine greater than fluorine, similarly sulfur greater than oxygen, phosphorus greater than nitrogen. For all these are the reasons. For all these are the reasons. So now, is this clear? Is this clear? So finally, what is the order of electron affinity of 16 group elements? Sulfur greater than, selenium greater than, tellurium greater than, oxygen. That is for electron affinity values. Next, for 17 group elements, chlorine greater than, fluorine greater than, bromine greater than, iodine. That is 17 group elements. It is very, very important. Okay. Now, this is all about your electron gain enthalpy. So finally, which one has highest electron gain enthalpy? Which one has least electron gain enthalpy? So what about for noble gas elements? So finally, I am going to conclude the points here. In general, left to right, electron affinity increases. Top to bottom, electron affinity decreases. Please, particularly already I explained to you. In general, electron affinity, so left to right increases, top to bottom decreases. Okay, so top to bottom, that means highest is available at the right side of the period element. Right side means So that is 18th group. 18th group means helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon, and radon is next. That is radioactive elements. Okay, radon. Okay. So all these elements have, except this helium, Ns2 Np6 configuration. For helium, it is 1s2 configuration. Ns2 Np6. That means these are fulfilled electronic configuration. Fulfilled electronic configuration. Stable ending. These are not ready to accept electron from outside. That is why their electron affinity values 0. Their electron affinity values 0. But electron gain enthalpy values are higher positive values. Higher positive values. Find it. Electron, already I told to you, electron affinity and electron gain enthalpy are almost same, not 100%. Electron affinity is the attractive force side. Electron gain enthalpy is energy released process side. Okay, so that means these are opposite in condition. More is the attraction, more is the energy release. Energy release means the negative. Okay, so here electron gain enthalpy values. So electron affinity for noble gas elements 0. But in case he want to ask how much is the electron gain enthalpy? Electron gain enthalpy values for noble gas elements is a negative. Sorry, positive end. Positive means endothermic case. It is not that much easy to add one electron. That means more and more energies are applied to enter that electron, to push that electron into the outermost orbit of that gaseous atom for noble gas elements. That's why so very huge amount of energy required to push that electron into the outermost orbit of these elements. That's why higher positive. That means endothermic case. Endothermic case. Electron affinity is 0. Electron gain enthalpies are higher positive. Higher positive. That is for noble gas elements. Please be mind. Please be mind. That's why highest is not applicable for. That is electron gain enthalpy. When generally it is released energy, but it is absorbed. That's why it is not possible. For highest is applicable for halogens. Its previous group, that is the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. But among them, highest is for chlorine. Therefore, highest electron gain enthalpy is for chlorine, not fluorine. Already I told you in the previous concept. Okay. Next, why sir? Where are you? Already I told you why fluorine electron affinity is greater than that of fluorine. And just now I completed. After that, I started this concept. So, my dear, here is fluorine greater than fluorine greater than bromine greater than iodine. So already I explained why Cl greater than Ya. Because of small size of Ya, because of greater interaction between incoming electron and already existing electrons in fluorine, Cl has more. Because of those reasons, here it is more. Next. Least electron gain enthalpy is for least electron gain enthalpy is for 1A metals. 1A metals. In 1A metals, top to bottom lesson, that is cesium is the least electron gain enthalpy. Cesium has the least electron gain enthalpy. So that means less energy will be released in case of. Okay. So these are electron gain enthalpies and some conditions towards your this. Okay. So after that, I will send the notes for this one. So some new small problems are there. So please solve that your own words. If you have any doubt, please push in WhatsApp group. I will give the information to you. The endothermic means energy absorbed process, not energy released process. All those noble gases are endothermic cases. Energy absorbed cases. That is a higher positive values are available. Okay, so in general, my boys, finally I am going to conclude this topic. In general, electron gain enthalpy is indicated with delta H values. Delta H of electron gain enthalpy equal to minus of electron affinity of that element, because electron affinity is negative. Minus of electron affinity of that element minus 5 by 2 RPN. It is the relation between electron affinity and electron gain enthalpy. So delta H of electron gain enthalpy and electron affinity of an element are opposite. More is the attraction, more energy will be released. This attraction is electron affinity, released energy is electron gain enthalpy. Both are in opposite conditions. If electron gain enthalpy is positive, electron affinity is negative. If electron affinity is positive, electron gain enthalpy is negative. Okay, more is the attraction, more energy will be released. That's why both are in opposite processes. Electron gain enthalpy and electron affinity are opposite processes. Next, see here. Now, when an atom is there, which is in gaseous state, to this one electron is added. Now it is converted into A minus ion, which is in gaseous state. Something energy will be released. This energy is called as electron affinity. Sorry, electron gain enthalpy of A. Am I correct or wrong? Am I correct or wrong? When an electron is added to the outermost gaseous total atom, so it converts into uranium negatively charged ion, and something energy will be released. That energy is called as electron affinity or electron gain enthalpy. So in general, energy terms are explained in terms of electron gain enthalpy. It is correct. See here. Now I am going to explain reverse concept. So there is a negatively charged ion. I applied some energy on this to remove electron. To remove electron, I applied this energy. After removing that electron from A minus, that A minus is converted into A. So by the loss of electron, now this energy is also called as ionization energy of A minus ion. This energy is also called as ionization energy of A minus ion. Is this correct? That is your yesterday's class. That is the energy required to remove electron from the outermost orbit of a gaseous neutral atom or negatively charged ion, whatever it may be. So that converts into respect to condition state. So electron is removed, that is converted to A and A. That means magnitude value of electron gain enthalpy of A, magnitude of electron gain enthalpy of A is equal to ionization energy of A minus. The same energy value is used like this or like this. So in case of this one, delta H is a negative. In case of this one, delta H is positive. That is why there is only sign difference ending, but magnitude value is same. It is 40, minus 40, plus 40. Minus means released energy, plus means absorbed energy. How much is the value? 48. That is the magnitude value is the same, but opposite in signs. One is released energy, and one is absorbed energy. Okay. So therefore, ionization energy of A minus is equal to electron gain enthalpy of A. Electron gain enthalpy of A. Similarly, I am going to explain one more case. See here. There is A plus ion. To this, one electron is added. It's converted into A and releases some energy. This energy is electron gain enthalpy of A plus ion. Correct or not? This energy is electron gain enthalpy of A plus ion. Correct or not? Yes, it is correct. Because when electron is added to the A plus ion, some energy will be released. This is electron gain enthalpy of this A plus ion. Reversing. There is an atom A which is in gaseous state. Something energy is used, but it is used to remove this electron. Remove that electron. Now A becomes A plus and losing of electron. Now the same energy is called as ionization energy of A. Ionization energy of A. It is A plus. Be careful. That means electron gain enthalpy of A plus is equal to ionization energy of A. Ionization energy of A. So this is the way to identify which one is equal to which one. So for example, A minus 2 takes one electron converted into A minus 3. So some energy. This is let it be energy. So this energy is considered as electron gain enthalpy of A minus 2. The same energy is also considered as ionization energy of A minus 3. Ionization energy of A minus 3. So magnitudely the value is fixed, but they are in opposite side. That's it. Okay. So this is the way which one is equal to which one. And number of times asked about the correlative, which is equal to which one. Now what is the ionization energy of A is equal to how much? How much that is electron affinity of A or electron affinity of A minus or something else. What is that? Ionization energy of A is equal to how much? So now I am going to explain ionization energy of A. That is, there is A. One electron is removed, converts into A plus ion. So by using some energy, see here. There is A. I applied some energy and converts into A plus ion by the removal of electron. This energy is called as ionization energy of A. Ionization energy of A. So at the same time, if there is A plus ion, there is an electron, now it is added, it converts into A, this much energy is released. This is electron gain enthalpy of A plus. Electron gain enthalpy of A plus. Therefore, ionization energy of A is equal to electron gain enthalpy of A plus. The magnitude values are same. So these are the opposite. That means electron gain enthalpy is opposite to the ionization energy. So there energy required to remove the electron, here energy released when electron is added. Both from outermost orbit. There electron is added to the outermost orbit, here electron is removed from the outermost orbit. Okay. So these two are the opposite cases. One is exothermic, another one is endothermic. Electron affinity is exothermic. So first electron affinity is exothermic, remaining all electron affinities are endothermic. So ionization energy, all ionization energies are endothermic. So this is electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. Finally, electron gain enthalpy and electron affinity both are almost same but opposite in signs. Attraction is electron affinity, released energy is electron gain. Okay, so this is the way to explain electron gain enthalpy. I think most of the students understand very well. So, clear or not? Finally, is this electron affinity clear? Yes. Now I am going to explain electronegativity. Next topic. EN. Electronegativity. Electron gain enthalpy. That is the someone asked me, sir, define electron gain enthalpy. That is the amount of energy released when an electron is added to the outermost orbit of a gaseous neutral atom. That is electron gain enthalpy. So, which is also similar, also taken as electron affinity, but in practice, these two are a slight difference. The attractive force is considered as electron affinity. The released energy is considered as electron gain. Okay. Yes, magnitudes are equal. Whose magnitude? Electron gain enthalpy and electron affinity. Electron affinity is attraction. Just it is a phenomenon. Electron affinity is a phenomenon to attract electron energy. During that phenomenon, there is opposite end. Something energy will be released. That is energy. That released energy is electron gain enthalpy. The phenomenon of attracting that electron by an atom is called as electron affinity. The phenomenon is called as electron affinity. Okay. Electron gain enthalpy and ionization energy are opposite in size. Electronegativity. Okay, what is this electronegativity? So previously I explained this electron gain enthalpy or electron affinity. So during electron affinity, I consider an atom, which is I took that isolated gaseous atom in case of electron affinity. In case of electron affinity, isolated gaseous atoms. Then we consider isolated gaseous atom. But in electronegativity, an atom which is in bonded. So it is a phenomenon of bonded atom. Electronegativity is the concept of bonded atom. It is no doubt it is for atom, but which is in bond formation. But electron affinity is individual atom, isolated atom. So there is a basic difference between this electron affinity and electronegativity. Now, what happened here? What we observed here? See here, I am going to explain this electronegativity. So the concept of electronegativity is applicable for bonded atom. That is, there is a pair of electrons which are in bond formation. So it is the nucleus of atom. It is the nucleus of this atom. These electrons have negative charge. These nucleus have positive charge. That means between these two attractive forces is there. Between these two attractive forces is there. So the attractive force, because of that attractive force, these electron pairs are something attracted by this nucleus. They are also attracted by this nucleus. The tendency of that atom to attract the bond pair of electrons towards itself is called as electronegativity. The tendency of a bonded atom to attract the shared pair of electrons, bond pair of electrons towards itself, the tendency to attract itself, the bond pair of electrons towards itself is called as electronegativity. That means at the same time, so this electron pair is attracted by this nucleus and also this nucleus, but one has more attraction, so that's why a little more attractive side, the electron pair is shifted. The electron pair is shifted. See here, how is this possible? This is one of the atoms having biggest size. This is its nucleus. This is another atom having small size. This is its nucleus. These are the electron pairs, bond pair of electrons. Now, there is a large distance. There is a large distance between this nucleus and the electron pair. There is a small distance between this nucleus and this one. That is why here more attraction, here less attraction is possible. That attractive power is called as electronegativity. That means this one has electronegativity, this one has electronegativity, because both attracts the electron pair, but this is strongly attracted, this is weakly attracted. That means, so every bonded atom has a power to attract the bond pair of electrons towards itself, but one has more, one has lesser. Okay, so whose atomic size is less, that attractive force is more. Therefore, electronegativity is more. That means electronegativity is influenced by the size of the atom. The atom whose atomic size is less has greater electronegativity. So has greater electronegativity. So what is this? So I'm going to write the definition for that one. So it is the tendency to the bonded atom. So what is the electronegativity? The tendency of bonded atom attract the bond pair or shared pair of electrons towards itself is called electronic. The tendency of a bonded atom to attract the bond pair of electrons towards itself is called as electronegativity. Mind it, my dear boys. These electrons are not completely shifted towards this atom, and it is slightly shifted, not completely entered into the atom, slightly moving towards that that atom side. Which one has greatest attractive force? Okay, that means see here. See here. There is A atom and B atom. A atom has more size, B atom has less size. Here is a bond between A and B. This is the bond pair of electrons. Actually, this bond pair of electrons is exactly between these two atoms. But because of small size, it is strongly attracted towards this one. It is weakly attracted towards this one. Because of that, the new position of these electron pairs is like this. So not here, it is just like here. That means it is not completely entered into the atom. It is slightly moving towards that atom. Because of that, an extra electron. This electron is from B end. This is the extra electron from A end. That electron is also attracted by this B end towards it. Because of that, this B atom gets partial negative charge. This A atom gets partial positive charge. The tendency is called as a polarity. The tendency is to split into partial positive and negative charges is called as polarity. This polarity is due to electronegativity. That polarity is due to electronegativity. So the atom which one has greatest electronegativity has partial negative charge, which one has less electronegativity has partial positive charge. The splitting of the bond into partial positive and negative charges is called as polarity. So that's why polarity of the bond is due to the electronegativity difference between those two bonded atoms. For example, both the atoms are A. This is A, this is A. These two atoms' sizes are equal. Now, bond pair is this is the bond, here is the bond pair. This is strongly attracted, this is also strongly attracted. These two are same end. Now, it is exactly between them. So, no one side is going out. That is why. So, no one gets positive charge, no one gets negative charge. That means, so no one gets positive. That means, no polarity is developed. No polarity. That bond is called as a non-polar bond. That means a covalent bond is formed between two similar atoms. The bond is non-polar atom. If it is formed between two dissimilar atoms, the bond is called as a polar bond. Polar covalent. The polarity is due to difference in the electronegativity. Difference. Both the atoms have the same electronegativity, so there is no difference. Automatically, the bond pair is exactly middle one. No one gets positive charge, no one gets negative charge. Automatically, that is a non-polar case. That is a non-polar case. Okay, this is towards your electronegativity. So now, what are the factors? So which one has greatest electronegativity and which one has least electronegativity? Now I am going to explain this one. Okay, smaller atom has more electronegativity. Bigger atom has less electronegativity. No doubt we know from top to bottom sizes are increased. As the size increases, electronegativity decreases. Okay. Next, from left to right, size decreases. Means size decreases, electronegativity increases. At the extreme right side, noble gases are there. Noble gas elements have no bond formation because they are itself stable. That means no bond is existing between themselves. That is why noble gases have no electronegativity values because no bond is there. Because wherever bond is there, there we are explaining electronegativity. No bond is there, no electronegativity is existing. So therefore, noble gases have no electronegativity. Next, among all these elements, except the noble gases, the smallest sized atom is F, fluorine. The smallest sized atom is fluorine. Therefore, fluorine has highest electron negativity. So, but in previous case, chlorine has highest electron affinity. It is electron affinity highest for chlorine. electronegativity highest for chlorine. In both cases, least electronegativity or least electronegativity, both are applicable for cesium. Cesium has least electronegativity, at the same time least electronegativity. Okay, so these are very, very important points towards your electronegativity. How to calculate the electronegativity? My dear boys, it is the relative tendency. It is related to other side. For example, here A and B are there. Here B has small size when compared to A. For example, the same B having that much size, something smaller C is there. Now bond pair is there. Now in this case, this one has a less electronegativity, this one has more electronegativity. That means electronegativity of an element is not fixed. It is depending on which one has high, which one has low. It was depending on connecting bonded atom. Connecting. So depending. That means electronegativity is a tendency. It is a tendency. Just it has no fixed values generally. It is the attractive force. It is the tendency. Okay. Is this more attractive or less attractive than corresponding one? Just as a more attractive or less attractive than that's adjacent atom. So that's enough. In this case, bromine has high tendency. In this case, the same B has less tendency. That means depending on here, depending on A, here it is depending on C. That means so the attractive power depending on the connecting bonded atom. Connecting bonded atom. It is the relative property. It is relative property. So generally, so if we see some girls, so that girl is very beautiful. That is very beautiful. So automatically here is another girl is there. Oh, something she is more beautiful than that. That means it is a relative tendency. That beautiness is the relative tendency. Just like that, this is the attractive force. Just like that, this is the attractive force. That's enough. Okay. So as beautiness is more relative tendency, just like that it is electron. So when compared to that girl, she is beauty. And compared to that, she is more beautiful. Just like that. So when compared to that atom, this is more attractive. Okay. So that's enough to explain this electronegativity. Now, how to measure this electronegativity? Because it is an attractive force, it has no units. What about electron affinity? That is the energy. That's why all energetical units are applicable for electron affinity. Electron volt per atom, next to electron kilojoules, kilocalories. All those are the units for electron affinity. Ionization energy also energy. So that's why ionization energy, electron affinity both have energy units. But electron affinity is a relative attractive property. That's why it has no units. It is just attractive force. It is the relative force. It has no units. Now, how to measure? The measurement of this electronegativity is based on three important scales. Those scales are Millikan scale and Pauling scale, Millikan scale, Pauling scale, and the other scale. So that is which is taken as what is that? Just a minute. Allred screw scale. Allred Rochow. That is the three scales. So among these there are three. So only two are most important. That is Millikan scale and Pauling scale. So now I am going to explain this Millikan and Pauling scales. Here. So what is this Millikan scale and Pauling scale? So see here. According to Millikan, scale. According to Millikan, let us take an atom here. It has ionization energy, electron gain, and or electron affinity. So the average of these two values, therefore, electronegativity is equal to ionization energy plus electron affinity by 2. Ionization energy plus electron affinity by 2. So, if you want to calculate electronegativity, it is the average of its ionization energy and electron affinity. It's average of ionization energy and electron affinity. Okay, so it is very important. It is in general, but in different energetic units, it is ionization energy plus electron entry by 5.6. If energy is in electron volts, if energy is measured in electron volts, now so it is divided with 5.6. Same value, ionization energy plus electron entry by 544. So please be mind these division factors. 544. If energy is in kilojoule per mole, kilojoule per mole. If energy is measured in kilojoule per mole, it is divided by 544. Next, if ionization energy plus electron affinity by 125 and 125. If energy is in kilocalorie per mole. So if energies are in kilocalories, divided with 125. Energy is in kilojoules, divided with 544. Just equalize it. Next, energy is in electron volts, just divided with 5. So in general, this is the rule. In general, this is the value. So this is Pauli's scale, that is Millikan square values. So my dear boys, this Millikan square is applicable only for monovalent atoms. That is single bond formation atoms. Monovalent atoms. That means those atoms which can form only single bond are applicable for this. Monovalent atoms. Okay. So now another scale which is Pauling scale. Pauling scale. It is important. Please listen carefully. A little explanation is there for this case. Pauling scale. Pauling scale. What is this Pauling scale? Pauling scale. Let us say, let XA be the electronegativity of A. There is a bond between A and B. In this case, I want to find out electronegativity of A and B. So let XA is the electronegativity of A and XB is the electronegativity of B. Now the difference between these two is XA minus XB. This value is equal to 0.208 into root 2 delta. It is the formula used to calculate electronegativity of the elements. So XA minus XB is equal to 0.208 into root 2 delta. Root 2 delta. Here, delta value is in kilocalorie per mole. So energy units. So I am going to expand this delta. Please wait. Delta value is expressed in terms of kilocalories. So that is, this delta is applicable for bond enthalpy cell. It is related to bond enthalpies. This bond enthalpies in terms of kilocalories. Now this is the part. The same value XA minus XB is equal to 0.1017 into root 2 delta. Into root 2 delta if the delta value is in kilojoule per mole. The delta value is in kilojoule per mole. So it is with 0.1017 multiple. Here it is 0.208. So, sir, what is this XA and XB? XA is nothing but electronegativity of A. XB is nothing but electronegativity of B. Next, what is this delta, sir? It is bond polarity. It is nothing but resonance energy. Resonance energy. The delta is taken as resonance energy or stabilization energy. So how to calculate the delta value? Now I am going to calculate the delta value. Please be mind. So these are the two formulas. If one of these two atoms is a hydrogen, now I take a reference element hydrogen. By using hydrogen electronegativities, another element's electronegativities are going to calculate. So hydrogen electronegativity is taken as 2.1. This hydrogen is taken as a reference element. Reference element in Pauli scale. In Pauli scale, during calculation of electronegativities, what is the reference element? That is hydrogen. Its electronegativity is fixed to 2.1. So why is that? It is taken by scientists arbitrarily. It is the fixed value. So by taking hydrogen electronegativity as 2.1, remaining elements electronegativity are calculated by using this format. So one of those two atoms A and B, one should be taken as hydrogen, another. That means here is A and B. There is a bond between hydrogen and A and hydrogen and B. So one of those atoms must be hydrogen. Its electronegativity is taken as 2.1. Another element's electronegativity are going to calculate. Another element's electronegativity are going to calculate. So my dear boys, in Pauli scale, the reference element is hydrogen. In Pauli scale, the reference element is hydrogen. Its electronegativity is fixed to a value that is 2.1. No units. Its electronegativity is taken as 2.1. By taking hydrogen electronegativity as 2.1, remaining elements electronegativity are going to calculate. Okay. So now, how to calculate this delta value? Delta value. Now I am going to calculate delta value. By calculating the delta value, I am going to substitute here. One of them is the hydrogen. Another element electronegativity I am going to calculate by using known values. So now I am going to calculate and delta. So let us say there is a bond between A and B. How this AB is formed? There is A2 molecule. That means there is a bond between A and A. There is B2 molecule. That means there is a bond between B and B, which gives two AB molecules. There is a bond between A and B. That means AB compound is formed by the combination of A2 and B2. Now, here is energy. See here. There is a need of energy to break this bond, that is called as EA2. This is bond dissociation energy of A2 molecule. Now, this is EB2, that is the bond dissociation energy of B2 molecule. So, these two are energy absorbed process. During the bond formation, that means here two A atoms are formed, two B atoms are formed. Now, these A and B are combined with each other, that gives AB molecule. After getting A and B atoms, those A atom and B atom combine with each other, that gives AB molecule. So that means there is an attractive force between this A and B. That means here during the bond formation, some energy is released. That released energy is EAB. That energy released is EAB. So see here, two moles are formed, that is 2 EAB. 2 moles, 2 EAB. So actually, practically, we observed that, we expected that this bond energy, EA2 bond energy plus EB2 bond energy should be equal to 2 into EAB bond energy. That means EAB bond energy is equal to 1 by 2 that of EA2 molecule and EB2 molecule. 1 by 2 that of. This is expected value. This is expected, but practically, this value is something more than that of this value. But EAB value a little bit more than that of half into EA2 and EB2 summation. Therefore, there is a little difference between these two energy values. Therefore, EAB minus half into EA2 plus EB2, there is a difference. That difference of energies are taken as the delta. So that means it is the bond energy of AB, it is the bond energy of A2, it is the bond energy of B2. That means all these are energy. That means energy terms are either electron volts, kilojoules, kilocalories are used. If kilocalories, kilojoules, kilocalories are there, so there are different values are applied. So therefore, delta is in terms of bond energy. Bond energy terms. Okay, so just by taking bond energy of AB, bond energy of A2, bond energy of B2, by applying this value, we should calculate delta. Therefore, electronegativity E is equal to, therefore, XA minus XB is equal to 0.2080 into root delta. By substituting the delta value here, if one of the hydrogen is taken, that is a 2.1, another element electronegativity is going to calculate. Therefore, the reference element is hydrogen. its electronegativity is taken as 2.1. That means all the values, all the electronegativity values calculated by this method are only with respect to hydrogen. Only with respect to hydrogen. Okay, all the electronegativities on Pauli scale are relative values with respect to hydrogen. If electronegativity of F fluorine is 4.0 means if hydrogen value is 2.1, then F value is 4.0 with respect to hydrogen. With respect to hydrogen. Okay, so by taking that values, so now what are the electronegativity values of different elements? Highest electronegativity for fluorinating, its value 4.0 on Pauli scale. On Pauli scale. Second best is oxygen, its value 3.5. Third best electronegativity is for nitrogen or chlorine. Their values are 2.5. So it is 4.0, it is 3.5, it is 3.0. All these values with respect to hydrogen. Hydrogen value is 2.1, then these values are like this. Okay, so these are different values. Least electronegativity is for cesium. It is 0.7. Its value is 0.7 on Pauli scale. Okay, highest for fluorine, that is 4.0. Second highest for oxygen, that is 3.5. Third highest for nitrogen or chlorine, that is 3.0. These are the highest electronegativity generally. Least electronegativity is cesium, its value is 0.7. Okay, these are the electronegativities. Now these electronegativities are influenced by some other factors. So what are those factors? How is this? So carbon 2.1. Carbon 2.4, sorry, not 2.1, 2.1 for hydrogen, 2.4 for carbon. Okay, now what are the factors which are influencing this one? Now, what are the applications of this one? Now, one more scale is there. So after completion of that one more scale, I'm going to conclude this one. Tomorrow I will continue the topic. So see here, there is another scale which is Allred-Rajov scale. Once again, Mulliken scale values are 2.8 times more than Pauling scale values. Please be matched. 2.8 times that are Pauling scale values. So that means Mulliken scale values are little bit more values. So Mulliken scale values are more than that of Pauling scale values. How many times it is? 2.8 times. Therefore, electronegativity on Mulliken scale is equal to 2.8 into electronegativity on Pauling scale. Electronegativity on Pauling scale. Please remind, it is a relation between Mulliken scale values and Pauling scale values. Relation between Mulliken scale values and Pauling scale values. So later I am going to explain Allred-Rajov scale. What is this Allred-Rajov scale? Allred-Rajov scale, it is the third scale to calculate electronegativity values. So what is this? So it is the, once again, bonded atom. This is the nucleus. This is the bonded atom. This is the nucleus, another atom. This is the bonded atom. This is the nucleus of. Now, see here. There is a covalent bond between these two atoms. Let us take A and B. Here is a covalent bond between A and B. Now, it has its nucleus. It has its nucleus. This nucleus has positive charge. This nucleus attracts electron from another atom. This electron is influenced by this nucleus, no problem. But this electron is attracted also by this nucleus. How much is the attractive force? Similarly, this electron is attracted by this nucleus. Based on these attractive forces, electron of this atom with nucleus of another atom. So electron of another atom with nucleus of this atom. So these based on these attractive forces, he designed a scale. He designed a scale that is Alred-Rochet scale. According to him, the formula is electronegativity, or let it be HCl, is equal to 0.359 plus Z effective atom, there is, effective nuclear charge, Z effective into R square divided by R square into, that is plus, just a minute, it is plus 0.744. So it is just a formula. So what is this Z effective? Effective nuclear charge. Already I calculated at the beginning of this chapter by using Slater's rules. So like that, calculate effective nuclear charge. R is the radius of the atom. So by adding all these values, we get electronegativity of a particular element. Electronegativity of a particular element. R is equal to radius in Angstrom set. Radius is an atom. Z effective is nothing but effective nuclear charge calculated by using Slater's rule. So just applying those values, we calculate electronegativity of the element. These are the different scales which are used to calculate electronegativity.